Jackson's hit Motown. Brought to you in part by Hardee's. Have you tasted what's making America say, it's here, it's all here at Hardee's? And by the American Dairy Association, your local dairy farmers.
Good evening, I'm Carmen Harlan, and welcome to Victory at the Silverdome, the Jacksons hit Motown.
And I'm Eli Zarrett. We are absolutely live, as we told you, at the Silverdome on the night of the Jacksons' triumphant return to Motown, and Curtis Gatson will be joining us live from the field.
And what you may not be able to see are the crowds that are beginning to fill this huge stadium. And before another hour goes by, this place will be packed with Jacksons fans to participate in what is being called the most extravagant stage show ever.
And not since the Beatles as a tour created this much of an uproar. It is crisscross the country, thrilling literally hundreds of thousands of Jackson fans.
You know, Eli, in a special way, the Jacksons are really coming home tonight. It all started in Kansas City 6 weeks ago. Michael Jackson and his brothers lit up the sky over Arrowhead Stadium and put on an electrifying outdoor performance. Billed as the most lucrative road show ever, the Jacksons' Victory Tour was not without problems. Most of the confusion surrounded the promoters' ambitious ticketing plans, buying concert tickets through the mail in groups of 4 with no guarantees of even receiving a ticket. But like a knight in shining armor, Michael was quick to the rescue.
So we've asked our promoter to work out a new way of distributing tickets, a way that no longer require a money order. I've asked our promoter to end the mail order ticket system as soon as possible so that no one will pay money unless they get a ticket.
The Victory Tour sold out in Kansas City. Then it was on to Dallas, Jacksonville, New Jersey, New York, and Knoxville last weekend. It's currently scheduled in some 13 cities, with more sites yet to be announced. Most of the performances, more than 50 in all, will be in stadiums like the Silverdome. There's not too many places that you can stick a monstrous stage like this, and it seems no expense is spared at making everything fit. It's estimated that the Jacksons tour will make over $50 million, and though the show has been criticized by some for not being longer, most of the concert goers we talked to agreed it was worth the $30 fare.
It was great. Just fabulous. Kids really enjoyed it. The whole family loved it. This is probably the most extraordinary show I've ever seen in my life.
They all are amazing. It was the best concert I ever saw.
It was loud. I thought it was dynamite.
If I could, I'd see it again, too.
It was great. It was.
And among the fans at the Jacksonville concert was a very special fan, young Melanda Cooper, a guest of the mayor.
I have sickle cell and they had leukemia. And so he said, we have a surprise for you. And then all of a sudden this white car raced out and then he came out and I think I fainted. And he just grabbed me. He picked me up off the ground. Michael Jackson did that.
The security has been the real thriller for the Jacksons tour. Over 2,000 police officers were assigned to the concert in New York at Madison Square Garden. They wouldn't allow fans to get closer than 2 blocks without a ticket. And if you're planning to attend the concert at the Silverdome, you'll be searched with a metal detector. Of course, more noticeable than the security on the Jacksons tour has been the media. Cameras, reporters, and press from all over the world have followed this massive Star Wars caravan from Kansas City to here at the Silverdome in Pontiac. Interviews with the Jacksons have been scarce, if at all, and with Michael, well, this is as close as you'll get.
Well, that's about as close as anybody gets to Michael. He is a genuinely reclusive sort, and whether that's the reason he doesn't do interviews or what, it seems to maintain his mystique, you might say, and keep his fans just craving to get closer to him and hear more.
Of course, but you know, we were talking about the security, Eli, and if you think that security is incredible, think about this. He and his brothers are going to arrive tonight by helicopter or vans just moments before they go on tonight, and they'll be out at the Silverdome before the house lights come back up.
And looking around the house here beforehand, you see a fair sampling of the glitter gloves and the socks and the other Michael paraphernalia, which I suppose you'd expect, because after all, Michael mania is everywhere. The Michael Jackson craze has spread like wildfire, and where there is star worship, there is people plunking down cash for T-shirts, for buttons, and for souvenirs. And you can't be a Michael clone without sunglasses, can you? And those have been moving like mad, too. Department stores like JCPenney have been anxious to do their part to both fuel and profit from the mania with Michael Jackson-inspired clothing. And it could be a pretty much one-theme back-to-school look this fall. Ah, yes, here we see the status jacket, the padded shoulders, the zippers, buckles, crop pants, glitter socks, and, of course, the ever-popular right-hand glove, better to flip through math books with. There are no labels bearing Michael Jackson's name, and the U.S. Olympic athletes weren't dressed in his likeness, but at the rate things are going, watch out. And if it's not enough to dress like Michael Jackson, we are constantly hearing about Michael Jackson look-alike and Michael Jackson dance contests. It was standing room only in this Houston nightclub recently to see these fellas spread it out. Not bad, huh? In Detroit, no shortage of Michael mimicry. Last Sunday, for instance, the Free Press sponsored a Michael Jackson dance contest. Amazing. People from all over paid $4 to see these kids do their best Michael Jackson. And if you'll pay $4 for an imitation, 30 big ones for the real thing seems to fall in line. Jackson's influence seems to have had the most impact on children. His Dream World videos have captured the imagination of his teen idol worshipers, and the recent concerts have attracted thousands of little people with glitter socks and white gloves. But while it might all be a gas for the kids, what about the parents?
I think he projects a pretty good image for the young ones. I think that some things that he outlies in terms of, not drinking and not hung up on any type of dope, that's the kind of thing that I want her to kind of outlies.
Nationally known psychologist and author Dr. Sonia Friedman has a good reason for that.
He is anti-drug and pro-religion, and therefore there are masses of people who are in favor of that. He's the little boy who in many ways refuses to grow up, and yet we saw him become a star in our own myths. And he belongs to a family. And whatever the realities, the myths and the illusion are larger in life, and what in many ways kids across the country and many adults want to believe in.
So if your kids haven't had enough of Michael Jackson just yet, don't worry. It might be good therapy.
I wish I could dance like that. Those kids can really dance.
Oh, I can dance like that. Fat chance, right? We're going to see Michael dance anyway when we come back. And welcome back. We are again, as we said, live at the Silverdome on the first night of the Jacksons Victory Tour in Michigan.
You know, this is a big night for Detroiters who remember the Jacksons way back when. Our own Curtis Gatson went back to Hitsville to explore Michael's Motown roots.
It was just over 15 years ago that 4 youngsters and 1 little boy walked into that house behind me. Known back then as Motown Records, it was the only place where street kids with raw talent could go on to become superstars.
My first impression was, where does he get these guys?
Bobby Teller brought him down here.
Right here in this room?
Yes,
Right there, where?
right there, right behind you. And he said, hey, guys, I want you to meet the Jackson 5. And we looked at these little kids, and we just fell out laughing. It was Jameson and myself. We said, what?
I just thought, well, here's another flash in the pan for, you see them come and go when you play music.
Thomas Beans Bowles and Earl Van Dyke were 2 of Motown's top musicians in the late 60s. They and other musicians helped the Jackson 5 go on to greater things.
I am very proud to say that I was on the first 2 albums, I think it was. Maybe it was more, I never know. And as far as they were self-contained, I was proud of them then, and I'm very proud of Michael now. And I'm glad to see that they're back together.
Thomas and Earl recently came back to Hitsville, USA to reminisce. The old recording studio, now a museum, still holds a lot of special memories for these 2. Memories of Stevie Wonder, Diana Ross and the Supremes, and the list goes on and on. But you can't talk to them about the Jackson 5 or any of the Motown superstars unless you first mention the man who took those young, talented street kids from rags to riches, the star maker, Berry Gordy.
I feel that the personalities in any of the groups reflected Berry Gordy because he picked out the person. And Michael, at that time, was the little fellow that was doing all the selling. I mean, he was cute, and he was the one that would make the group go. And he had talent.
They were just a young family that was just dynamite.
Mrs. Esther Gordy Edwards is Senior Vice President of Motown Industries. She remembers her brother's efforts in the early days of Motown.
Well, the one thing about Berry Gordy is that he is able to spot potential and spot talent just right off the bat.
Every artist that came in here at that time was raw talent. All the polishing came from the people and the staff that Berry surrounded them with. And he picked some good people, as the results show.
I had you to myself. I didn't want you around.
Well, Berry Gordy certainly made no mistake in spotting Michael's talent.
No, not at all. And as you'll see when we return with an electrifying moment from Michael's performance of Billie Jean.
Why does he do me that way?
Michael Jackson celebrates his 26th birthday Sunday, August 19th, and it's truly remarkable, isn't it, that one so young has been on the public spotlight so very long.
You know, Eli, it seems only yesterday he was little Michael Jackson. He's been singing professionally since he was 5. That's when the Jacksons first began as a group back in Gary, Indiana. Michael Jackson's life began 26 years ago in Gary, Indiana, amidst a poor Milltown setting. Father Joe Jackson was a welder making $5,000 a year, and in 1958, that wasn't much for a family with 9 children. They lived in this 2-bedroom house on Jackson Street. How about that for a coincidence? And though life wasn't easy for the Jacksons, it seems even at a very early age, Michael knew what he wanted to do.
He was the only one that considered himself a star at the time.
Mrs. Emma Robinson was Michael's math and science teacher in the 4th and 5th grades. And what was her first recollection of young Michael Jackson?
A very gay, a very happy, a very jaunty, a very cocksure little boy. Michael had a mediocre voice, according to the music teacher at the school.
I had you to myself. I didn't want you around. I don't pretty faces all to me. I stand up and proud.
Whatever his voice is today, it's certainly not mediocre. Michael Jackson has come a long way since Gary, Indiana. He recently received 8 Grammys for his Thriller album that sold over 35 million copies. To say that he's achieved overwhelming success is an understatement. Michael Jackson's personal estate is estimated to be close to $100 million. And last year alone, he earned over $40 million. It's been said that his personality has changed dramatically since his youth, that he's become shy and reclusive. But a close family friend, Esther Gordy Edwards, will tell you Michael Jackson is still the same vibrant, outgoing young man she met when the Jackson 5 first walked through the doors of Motown Records.
Michael was the most active, but that was because he was the youngest in the group, and as far as I could see and tell, he was just a true 8-year-old kid, you know, that would play and laugh and, you know, and perform and had no real problems. Personality-wise, I did not notice a change. I feel somewhat concerned and maybe a little sorry for Michael because of all of the great and phenomenal success and popularity that he has, because I know that he cannot live a normal life. And I don't think that any of us, and especially Michael, ever dreamed that this would be the case.
I want to pick you from the bunch. We're going through the all the shit. Now it's much too late for me. Take a second look. Oh, baby, give me one more chance.
You know, that
that performance you saw from Motown 25 was a real showstopper. It's interesting to note that that was the first time the brothers had performed together since 1976.
That's true. You know, Jermaine separated from the group for a while. He is back, but then Jackie has a bum knee. He couldn't make this tour, but younger brother Randy is here. In any case, 40,000 people here tonight are glad to see some kind of Jackson lineup together.
That's right. And when we come back, a look at the behind-the-scenes incredible staging of the Victory Tour. We're back live at the Pontiac Silverdome, perched right above the towering stages that we're not allowed to show you tonight.
That's right, it's top secret stuff, but Curtis Gadsden did manage to sneak behind the scenes and get the lowdown on what it takes to pull off the most spectacular rock concert ever staged.
Though the Jacksons' music and footwork are better than ever, it's the special effects and lasers that seem to be the big items on the Victory Tour. That's why the stage area is so huge, 14,000 square feet and over 5 stories high. So big, in fact, that they couldn't get it all in the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis. When David Bowie made his record-breaking tour last year, he used just over 40 tons of stage and lighting equipment. The Jacksons weigh in at 375 tons, but there's more going on here than just some fancy lighting.
I've seen a couple his outfits. One of his outfits was with laser lights, and it was real beautiful, and he has a glove that lights up also. And I asked one of the ladies, just out of curiosity, how much it costs, and she said around about $75,000 just for one jacket. So I got to get to work.
Costume changes are only a part of it. They need 28 semis to haul all this equipment. Then it takes about 1,200 stagehands and technicians working around the clock for 4 days to get it all together. Now, if that doesn't impress you, how about a 12,000-volt electrical system, 5 elevators, and a sound system that's hooked up to 120 speakers? Times have certainly changed since the simple stage shows of Motown. But in a recent interview with Marlon and Tito, Brian Gumble found out...
It's been a piece of cake, really.
A piece of cake?
Yeah,
wait a minute, I'm hearing 28 vans, I'm hearing, you know, tons of equipment. How can it be a piece of cake?
Everything went a lot smoother than what people said it was, so it's been a piece of cake as far as we're concerned.
What's been the most satisfying thing about the tour so far for you?
Just happy fans and good music, and everything is just really going great.
So far, it has been going great for the Jacksons, and the reviews by most critics have been favorable.
It seems to be part of the superstar paraphernalia these days to have special effects with lighting and costume changes and you know, things bursting in air and all kinds of things happening. That's just a part of the showbiz that the crowd seems to really react very positively to.
Dr. Billy Taylor knows music, a renowned jazz pianist who plays at many jazz festivals across the country. He is also the music analyst for CBS News.
On the negative side, I think a lot of people are going to try to see who they can do it with next. And they're going to try to they're going to put some people out there that shouldn't be out there trying to charge these kind of prices and do this kind of a tour. And that'll hurt the business and hurt the acts that unfortunately get caught in that kind of presentation.
One thing you can be sure of, it'll certainly be a while before anyone can beat this act. One of the things that makes this act so unbeatable is Michael Jackson. But here at the Silverdome tonight, you'll see that the magic touch of the entire Jackson family is everywhere. Staging, lighting, choreography, and the results pure genius, according to our own Davy Marlon Jones.
People from all over, all across the nation, varied cultures, varied ideals, varied ages, one common denominator, Michael Jackson.
You can take your inhibition. I gotta let that fool deep inside so.
Amidst a never-ending orgy of 1 trillion kilowatts, 100 decibels, and 1 million lasers slashing the air through all the fog machines in the free world, put them together, and you've got the drama of the Super Bowl when your team wins. Those other fragments of what was called the Jackson 5 work well and revere their energy source. Michael Jackson does not look well physically. The strain of sending out the discipline and drive that it takes to touch 50,000 people live and individually exacts enormous dues. What is most impressive about the Jackson Victory Tour is that they are never dominated by the pyrotechnics of their paraphernalia. What is it like to watch what is today's biggest single-star draw in the world? It's like watching Willie Mays at the top of his career, like being converted by an evangelist of boundless joy. He is a consummate professional. He has the innocence of a child. The show is a soul. That soul totters dangerously close to extinguishing itself in its own blaze. At the moment, it gives a lovely light. As a concert, it is fair. As a show, it is great. Victory total. I will never forget it. Davy Marlon Jones.
Now, that's pretty high praise coming from Davy Marlon Jones, wouldn't you say?
I certainly would. You know, not everybody in here is going to have a great seat, obviously, but it seems that just sharing the same venue, being in the same location with Michael Jackson is overwhelming enough for most people.
Of course. In fact, I've become a full-fledged fan. I picked up my Michael Jackson T-shirt, and I'm going to encourage Eli to do the same. But we want to say goodbye from the Silver Dome for Eli Zarrett, Curtis Katz, and good night.
Victory at the Silver Dome has been brought to you in part by Hardee's. Have you tasted what's making America say, it's here, it's all here at Hardee's? And by the American Dairy Association, your local dairy farmers.
She's her voice, shake my wisdom, seducing sighs, get me out into the night. Oh,